Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're listening from. This here is the Great Human Reconnect. I'm your host, Hayden Binney, and today we have a very special guest. Rhys, you've helped a lot of people build businesses, but before all of that, who was Rhys before anything worked?
Scared kid trying to prove that an idea could work. Like I was not business savvy. I didn't have the idea to build a business from day one. It's kind of thrust upon me. My dad was very old school, still is. Get a career, do a job, stay in it for 40 years. That's life. I realized I didn't want that very early, but I didn't know what I wanted. So the only answer was to do something. So I worked a lot. And then I realized that I don't like having a boss. So I was like, well, I've got to just build this on my own. And originally I was just very scared that that everyone else is going to be right. Right. I had no idea what I was going to do, had no idea how to do it, but I was just like, going to try.
Did many people misunderstand that version of Rhys?
I think many people still do. I think one of the most things that people ask me a lot is well, how do your friends feel? How do your family feel? How does your partner feel about the fact that, an 18-hour day is a normal life for you? I was like, it's a misunderstood notion for most, but I think the ones that do get it, they can see the why. And it's like, for me now, it's like, the why is I just want to try and prove that I can continue to do more than I even think or I thought was possible. But yeah, early days, no one really gets it, but I don't think they're supposed to. I think I look at anyone that's done anything good, anything big. Every single person that's done anything of worth has had people say, don't do that. That makes no sense. You're crazy. That'll never work. I don't think it's their job to back you. And I don't think people should rely on having people back you because it doesn't matter.
Do you think you've always been this way inclined, or was there a fraction moment where you changed from an old version of you into beginning to become the version you are now?
Yeah. I don't think I was ever naturally entrepreneurial. I don't think that was initially a thought process that I thought, okay, I'm going to launch my own business and that's the way I want to go. There was definitely a break point where I didn't like the authority being told to do things the way that I thought was slow or inefficient, or pointless. So I look at my very early days, my first proper job, packing shelves at a supermarket. I didn't see a lot of point in the way that they did things. There's a lot of double handling, so I would just do it faster and then get told off that I wasn't working. I was like, but the job's done. It is finished. And but find more. It's I already found more. It's finished too. And so looking at inefficiencies in very small windows of opportunity, I was like, okay, there's people here that don't really understand that things can be done differently. I think that for me was there was one conversation with a manager at the shopping center I worked with. He was like, cool, can you do this thing? I think it was returns. I was like, yeah, I'm happy to, but I haven't been shown how to do that. And his answer was well, I'm a bit worried that you don't know how to do that. And I said, well, I'm a bit worried you haven't taught me. Isn't that your job? And he stood frozen and he was like, maybe. So I think in that moment, I don't want to work for people that don't even follow their own rules. I don't want to work for people that expect you to just know things without being taught. And that for me was I'm just going to go do my own thing.
On note of that, what are your thoughts when people make comments and you see viral videos about saying we're living in a simulation? Some people just can't exist. It just can't be real.
Oh man, I don't believe any. I look at what I can control. I look at if we are, it doesn't matter. It does not matter at all. If we are, if it's real, cool. If it's not, cool. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to do what I control. I find it really hard to kind of think into these esoteric versions of reality where it's people worry a lot about what the world should be. And I think if more people just worried about what the fuck it is, they'd be happier. And if they can put things in their control, they'd be happier and they'd probably just build better businesses as a whole and become better people. So I don't know. And I also don't care.
What season of life would you say you're in right now? And what battles are you internally facing?
Interesting. I think at the moment, if you had to ask me that question 2 weeks ago, I would have said it's a season of push, a bigger push than ever. 18-hour days being a normal thing to a point where this week is the first time I've had more than 4 hours of sleep a night as an average for a while. And the strange thing is I was starting to function better off 3 hours sleep than I do now, 8. So the current state is adaptation. The current state is we have just pushed for a big season, and we got to, say, the playoff day. We had our most recent workshop and it went incredibly well. And it's this weird moment of, the euphoric nature of we've just done something crazy to now it's, okay, we have to rally the troops, get back to work, continue to make it better. But I'm in this, I think the immediate season is just, it's a calm before storm. I think we've had the storm, calms now, but we'll find another storm.
What do you think the next storm will be?
Repetition, I think. I think most people that are in the business world have probably heard the saying of building a great business is just largely about getting lightning to strike more than once. And where you get a truncated return where you put one put of input in, you get leverage and you get a compounded vehicle off the back of that just grows forever and ever. I think we've found that. I think that for the last 6 months, I've pushed the team pretty hard to do what we've just done. And I think now that's going to be our compounding vehicle. But the hard thing with compounding vehicles is getting the repetitive nature to get it perfect. So I think that'll be the next storm of just getting the team to double down on what already worked without getting too emotional with the outcome. Because with what we're trying to do, the path now is we're pushing to a $30 million a year, and getting that to happen is not going to come by chance. And so the workshop we just had, whilst very successful, objectively went very well. The hard part is now making it back up month over month repeatably and have a better experience every time, which it's hard to top. When you've done everything that we did, it's hard to top, hard to go above.
What separates a business doing $1 million a year, $15 million a year, and aiming towards $30 million a year?
The first portion, the biggest bracket is 1 to 3. So 1 to 3 million is a swamp where you make money, you typically have pretty good margins, and it's fun. But getting up and out of the 1 to 3 is you have to spend a lot of money because you can't typically afford the best talent yet. So that means taking some big risks on people, pretty much working lots more. But getting up and out of the 1 to 3 and then pushing to the 5 to 10 is just going to be people power. I think the biggest difference though, looking up the chain, is one, it's the model. So what vehicle are you choosing to get you there? So there's going to have to be some changes for most businesses that go from 1 to say 30 mil. Probably not going to be able to have the same business unless you just want lots and lots of people. Biggest difference, man. I think honestly, if I could put it in a word, it's going to be focus. It's most people when they start to see a little bit of money, they just shiny object syndrome. They'll go start something new. They'll start something else. They'll get distracted with other opportunity. But I think if the ones that truly go far, if any of the clients that I've had go past, let's say $3 million a year, they're hyper-focused on one outcome, one product, one thing, and they just get it really, really good. I think that's the necessity. You have to focus on the one thing.
What does the word undeniable mean to you?
Man, I think it's I've got it tattooed on the side of my neck. I think it comes down to, for me, it's just proof. It's just proof. It just comes down to are you who you say you are? It's all good to say that you want to try and do something big and be someone of importance. But if you do it in a way that maybe today's day and age, very easy to fake a lot of things. So what's unfakeable is experience, time, battle scars, effort. This room, unfakeable. So for me, undeniable is stacking enough proof that it's unequivocal evidence that you are who you say you are and you can do what you say you can do.
If you had a film crew filming you for the last 6 months and it was made into a movie, what do you think the audience would describe you as?
Unbalanced, unwavering. I think the last 6 months probably depicts pretty easily and pretty well the Rocky Cut scene that most people don't show. 2 a.m. finishes, 4 a.m. starts. Not fun. But coming into a team of staff that will also be tired and saying they're also stressed, and then having to then still move forward and go, well, yeah, that's the plan. But also you've got 4 or 5 hours more sleep than me, but I'm not going to say that. So being unbalanced, but also unwavering, and I will do what's required. I will leave when the job's done. I think the audience would see that growing something big is hard, really hard, way harder than most people think. And like people see the maybe one-off outcome, people, see the photos, the videos of the workshop we had, or even like just any modicum of success. People see the outcome, they don't see what it takes. And then people talk, oh yeah, no, like it takes a lot, but like it takes a lot. Like I think Matthew McConaughey said this really well. Most people think they're Icarus and they fly too close to the sun and burn out, but often they're not even close to the sun. Like they haven't even realized their tolerance to pressure. And I think the last 6 months, I've surprised myself with the tolerance to pressure that I've been able to endure. I think that's like with everything, right? Like anytime you get to any sort of like new level of growth, and this is at every level in business and also like personally, the hard thing only feels hard in the moment. And then when you get to the other side of it, like, oh, okay, it wasn't that bad. I probably could have pushed a bit harder. I probably could have done a bit more. And like, I think it's like, maybe that's athlete mindset of like never quit mentality, but it's also like, I think it's real. Like if you come down to the last 6 months for me, like when I first started, it was hard, but then I adapted to being like, okay, this is normal. It's still hard, but it's also now enjoyable. And there's this curve where it just like, you kind of get over the hump. It's like, okay, now I'm just doing what needs to be done. I think that would come off pretty obviously that like shit is hard. Big shit takes hard work. But I think most people would realize that you're more capable than you think you are.
Why do people think they're flying closer to the sun than they actually are?
I think they subscribe to the idea of burnout. Like, what is burnout? Like, oh, cool, you just need to have a rest. Like, cool, go have a sleep and get back to work. Like, people kind of like epitomize this thought process of like, I am burnt out as like a binary statement that like, if you are burnt out, then you can't do anything. But I think when people are trying to push towards something big and they expect it to be hard, and then as soon as it gets hard, most people go, oh, fuck, pull me out. All right. But like, it's like the chasm is not that deep. It is not that hard if you just keep doing the same thing over and over again. Like it is hard, but I think the thing that I'm trying to say here is that they burn out too early because they just believe that burnout's a thing. Like I don't subscribe to the idea of burnt out. It's like, okay, if I'm tired and I am wrecked and my brain isn't working, I will take a day off and then I will sleep. I will go to the beach. Like I will do something to reset and then just start again. But people will sit in this place where it's like, okay, I've worked really hard. I am burnt out. So then I have to change everything. Like I'm burnt out. I need to take off a whole week. Like why? If you take a day off, do you feel a bit better? Yeah, cool. Let's get back in the trenches and just keep pushing. So you can kind of look at this in two ways. Like either A, don't redline yourself, only push as far as you can where you can sustain. So like you get a new car, it has a limiter, right? It has a soft limiter on the rev limit. Like, okay, cool. Just know what level you can push the RPM to and stay there. Or if you know that if you redline, then eventually you burn out, just take a day, start again and push forward. Like I think most people aren't prepared to just like take a day rather than take a week.
Do you think people are more afraid about the actual hard work and they can only handle... I find so many people in my own life, it's like, I've worked hard for 1 week. Oh my God, I'm so exhausted. Do you think it's people cannot just endure the hard work for a long time?
Yeah, I think like, man, the hard things are the things that will make, like if you look at just business as maybe a metaphor for life, the hard things that will make you grow. Like you have a bad relationship, bad breakup. Okay, what if you just have all the hard conversations instead of the breakup? You work through it together. It's really, really hard, but is it impossible or hard? If it's impossible, like cool, break up, right? If it's unfixable, cool, break up. But if it's just hard, why don't you have every hard conversation possible and move through it together as a team? It's like just most people aren't willing to have every hard conversation over and over and over again, have the same conversation 10 different ways so that both sides feel heard, understood, and then move forward. It's the same with business. Like if you look at the hard thing is hard on purpose because most people avoid it and that's why most people don't fucking win. If you're trying to build something big, it's going to be hard for a long time and you don't know when the end game is. So you need to play like it's game day every day because you don't know if your competitors are going to do the same.
If we go back to the audience watching the movie, is there something that you think that they could potentially be screaming at the screen saying, Rhys, it's so obvious you have to do this that you haven't yet done?
No, I think one thing I will say that like the last 6 months, I turned over the stones as much as I could. The one thing that I think that where the audience would maybe scream a little bit louder though is in that moment where I had an opportunity to work with Alex. Like what most people would assume is like most people would assume that I didn't hesitate. Like I did. Like I hesitated because whilst the finances, we have all the proof to like just do it. We had the money. You can't shy away from the fact that it's a lot of money. And I called my partner and I said like, look, this is heaps. This is a bit scary. And knowing full well, like she knew full well that the money was there. It's mine to spend. She said like, if you want, I'm happy to give you every bit of my personal savings to help make it less scary. And I said, thank you, but no, but that is the exact reason as to why I now need to do it. If you back me that much, like I'm doing it. And I think that the audience would scream at that.
Do you think the support system, the people you have around you, are a lot more important than most people would think?
Yeah, I have a really tight circle, really small circle. And most of which is kind of funny, like the people in my closest of circle will work for me. So like, you know, my media director, my sales director, like they're friends, but they work for me. So we're on the same mission. So it helps, like they understand that like they know what to move. They know what to take care of. They know how to get out of the way when the storm's just like pushing, and they know how to help, weather the storm too. I think the people I have around me are very helpful. I don't think you need a lot of people. Like my partner, she's a rock. Like the last 6 months, like I'm talking, I'm not exaggerating. 3 hours of sleep, 3.5 hours on a good night in here in the office every day. That meant time away from her. That meant time, away from the relationship. Like essentially, like to a fault, I agree. I believe that priorities are singular. You can only have one. And so everything that is not the priority then is comes second, which means if the work that I was pushing on for the last 6 months was the priority, it means everything else was not. That meant my relationship too. And she was there. She understood. And like, same goes as like my friendships. Like whilst, like I just said, some of my best friends also work for me. We didn't have many friend moments over the last 6 months. We had a lot of work moments, not a lot of friend moments.
Have you lost many people getting to where you are?
Yeah. Yes and no. Like, I think I would have lost the people that are no longer in my life regardless of what I'd done. So like, we all grow out of friendships just because of different belief systems or just different priorities in general. So regardless of me having pushed the way I have pushed with the business and trying to do what I'm trying to do, because I think what I've done so far, whilst cool, is nothing in comparison to what I will do. And the funny thing though is like, I look at the people in my circle now, I don't see them leaving the circle. I don't see me outgrowing the relationships I currently have, because like they are there for this version of me, and I think the next version of me will only be better. Whereas, let's say 20-year-old Rhys, very different. Like I was always very ambitious in that I wanted to do more, whilst when I had my business, I was like, okay, I'm pushing this thing. Like traveling with my friends, I did 2 years back to back, going overseas, went all around Europe, but I still worked online. Like I still did all of what I needed to, but I still enjoyed that time. But that friendship group is far smaller now. Some of which still come here, use the gym. They have keys to access, and they're like, but that's my hangout with them. Like they come through, they listen weights. I'm like, hey, what's up, dude? What's going on? Like, only my friends have access to this space, but I don't go out and hang out with them. And I think like the people that left my circle, whether it be through my own choices, in like I'm not hanging out with this person anymore, or their own choice, I think would have happened regardless. I don't think it was like due to the growth choices that I've made or the business. I think we were just different people.
Who or what paid the price for you becoming the man you are today, and who's benefited most from it?
I think the benefit is future me. I think benefit is Rhys 5 years from now. But I think the price that's been paid has probably come to Chloe, my partner. Like, I'm not an easy person to be with. Like, I think like initially when I was like, okay, I want to go on this path 5 years ago where I was really trying to push this, Chloe came in just at that point where things were getting challenging, where things were getting bigger. And like we were seeing revenue numbers that I never thought possible. So it was very extreme, very like, I'm doing it and I'm going hard and you're either with me or you're not, but like jump on the rocket ship or don't. I was very stubborn, selfish. And I think she definitely paid the price of maybe not having the partner that she thought she wanted initially. And I think that we grew together to be able to do that well. But I don't think that traditionally you get into a new relationship to go, okay, a date night is going to be my partner sitting at the office doing work. Like, that's not normal. But it wasn't without its hardship. But I think she definitely, she was the rock, and she still is.
Would you agree most entrepreneurs, they struggle to find that person? Because as you said before, they're so focused on one single thing, and they can look at anything else coming at a different point of view as a distraction, and they start to resent them because they look at their partners and be like, you are trying to push me further away from my goals.
I can't speak to what other people feel, but I can say what I did. Like, I think that's accurate for me. I think that I was very much in a position of like, well, I want to move very, very hard, very, very fast. And I want you to understand. And I think that's the thing that for me, like feeling understood in the world prior to meeting Chloe was very non-existent. Like very, very extreme thought process, very driven with outcome. And I didn't feel very understood by many. And I definitely felt resentment to the world in that, like, I'm very different. That's just how it is. And that's what it will be. But I think for me, meeting Chloe, like, and at least I will say Chloe, like, challenged me too. Like, she's not in a position where she's like, okay, it's just your way. Like, she challenged me, and it was definitely hard, and it was challenging, but I think for the better.
Do you feel fully understood, or you've come to terms with knowing that you will not be fully understood?
The latter. Yeah. I don't think many, like, I don't think I have, like, I don't think people need to, though. Like, we'll say that it's not other people's responsibility. I've shifted my thought process of like, understood is a luxury, but I don't think a necessity. I think it's a good feeling, and there are fleeting moments where I feel more understood, but I don't think that it is other people's responsibility to understand my worldview. Like, it's mine. And whilst helpful to have people on the same path, it doesn't change the fact that what I want from my life is exclusively up to me. It's not in anyone else's control. And so I shouldn't put the responsibility on anyone else to understand what I feel.
What's the biggest lie people are being told today?
Balance. People often say like work-life balance. And just even as a sentence, like when we come down to definitions, that makes no sense. Like, if you have a fulcrum in the middle and you have two opposing forces, one will always win unless they are balanced. But if you're looking at work versus life, how can you balance a thing that pulls you away from the other? Like, that's a myth. Balance does not exist. Synergy, perhaps, where you get your work and your life to move in the same direction at the same speed. They are equally weighted, but to get that, you don't get that by being balanced. You get that by being aggressively, like, unbalanced. Like, you have to be over leveraged on work to eventually earn the right to synergy.
What do you think the world gets out of convincing people that balance is important?
I think it keeps people small. I think it keeps people safe. It's a very nice notion to make a work-life balance. Like, I only work 20 hours a week and I earn $30 million a year. It's like, great, cool. And you hear that and people see that and go, okay, well, they can do it. It's possible. It's like, yeah, but what did they do to get there? Probably not that. Probably worked outrageously hard. Probably sacrificed a lot. And the work-life balance notion, whilst it sounds cool, I think for most people, it just keeps them small and it keeps you feeling safe. And it's nice to blame the world of like, well, I didn't grow so big because I wanted balance. It's like, okay, tell yourself that story, but also the scoreboard doesn't lie. Your business is smaller.
Would it be safe to assume other people tell other people that balance is important because they truly don't want someone else to succeed, because they look at their own life and think it's not going anywhere and they don't want to see other people close to them make it out and get to a better position?
I don't know if it's that people don't want people to get out, but I just don't think that people believe that it's possible. I think also people will say work-life balance because it's a reflection of what they want in life. Like, selfishly, if you look at the people telling you to have more balance, it's probably because they want more of you. They want to see you more. And so it's a selfish notion to like, hey, be more balanced because we want you to come out on the weekend. Like, we like your company, which is a nice notion. It's like chivalrous, but it doesn't change the fact that it is somewhat selfish. It's not a selfless deed. You're not saying, hey, be balanced because I want you to be more happy. It's like, my version of happy is not yours. And my version of happy is me working my absolute ass off, proving that I can do more and showing that the work will take care of every single problem in your world. The work will take care of.
Is there anything you're still trying to prove to people?
Every day. Every day.
Is it proving to other people, or is it proving to yourself?
I think it's both. I think you've got to burn what you got. Like, I guarantee there's still people that sit to see like what I was in school. Like, I was not an academic person. I was not business. I was a kid that sat in the corner and played guitar. Like, I was very isolated. And I guarantee there'd be still people that sit there and be like, it's going to fail. It's going to not work. Like, where they would, and even if there's not, it's like, oh, it's nice to think there is. There's people that are still counting on me falling down, still counting on me failing down. Like, there are still people counting on me not doing what I think I will do. Even if that is untrue, it is helpful for me because, like, well, I'm going to make sure that they lose. Anyone that bets against me, I'm going to make sure that they lose. And whether it's real or not, I think it's helpful. You got to burn the fuel. But for me, it's definitely about anyone that ever bet against me, I want them to lose. But it's also me. Like, I'm working for 5 years for me, Rhys. Like, I'm trying to press him.
How important is self-development and investing in yourself?
I think, honestly, I think overrated. Like, maybe a controversial thought process, but I think like life's going to develop you in the way it's going to develop you. Like, you get to choose where you put the effort. And I think if you double down on getting better as a person and like you forge better character, you become a better business owner. But also, like, it's your choice. Like, I don't think there is there's not this magic number where you invest X amount of money to your personal development or professional development and you get Y outcome. Like, you get what you're given, right? And so, like, for me, I go into a mentorship, I go into any sort of mastermind. For me, I'm like, not self-aggrandizing, but I've not been to every mentorship or workshop that I've been to. I've been the success story. I've been the person that's done more. And I don't think that's because of what was taught. I think it's because of who I am. And so the personal development, it's life. Most people have probably heard the notion that like we all apply our own filters to everything we see. Like, you and I see the world differently. And we see that because of different upbringing, different beliefs, different systems, different thought process, perhaps different like religious worldviews. Like, everything garners the way you view everything. And so with all of those filters in place, like, that's going to be the thing that dictates whether, let's say, I invest some degree of time, money, or effort into my personal or professional development. All of my filters will be the thing that garner whether that goes forward or moves in the right direction. So two people could walk into the same mentorship and have disproportionately different outcomes because of who they are. And I don't think that comes down to investment. I think that comes down to the life you lived.
Speaking on the terms of like going in, investing money in mentorships, courses, stuff like that, I know you spent some time with Alex Hormozi. What was the biggest takeaway you took from that?
Couple things. I think the first is like violent action wins. Something that, like, some words that were said in that room were very, very helpful. Things that like I won't ever repeat publicly, but things that were the way that he views the world is very, very similar to the way I see the world. But I think the overarching statement is it's on you. And like, you can have any strategy, but if you don't go take action on it, it's like not going to work. So violent action was the thing that I walked out with was certainty that if you follow the plan, and I have it tattooed on my hand, is like, if you follow the plan, things will work. You just have to go aggressive with that. Like, you can't just dip the toe in, you have to go. And so hearing that come from Alex was helpful, confirming. Like, it gave me, as I said, a sense of certainty where I could start to move through whichever plan that comes next with a degree of violence to go as hard as possible. But then second to that would be, at some point, it was really cool to see in the room, like, a reflection that he made at some point. And I know I'm very far from this point, but at some point it becomes more about the company, less about the money. And so, like, I haven't found that yet. Like, our goals for the next 12 months, 18 months, 24 months are largely financial. But at some point, the financial goals don't pull you forward. And I think I'm like, more than anything, I'm excited to find that point where the financial goals no longer matter.
Is that something you work towards, or is that something that just happens?
I don't know. For now, I think it might be I have no idea. I think from now, like, my experience so far is the financial goals are something that pull me forward. Like, financial incentive is something that for me works well. I'm excited to find the point where that doesn't, but I don't know if it's just a moment in time or something that you build towards. I'll let you know when I find it.
Hormozi famously says, most people don't have business problems, they have character problems. What character flaw did you have to find and grow from?
Man, I have it tattooed on my arm. It says, character is currency. The full quote is, money doesn't make the man, character is currency. So early, I was 20, maybe 19, earning close to $6,000 a week as a personal trainer. To me, at the time, was lots of money. And to all of my friends was outrageous money. So I fell into a thought process that like what I could buy and what I had made me better. Like there was a degree of ego that came with that. And it was some long hard nights looking in the mirror, some nights in here where I was just reflecting on like the person I was becoming. And I very quickly realized that whilst financial incentive is necessary and still motivates me, what you have doesn't change who you are. And so divorcing the outcome to being able to buy things to impress people that don't matter, divorcing that from effort and still doing it anyway, even though I wasn't going to impress anyone, allowed me to realize that character is the only currency that really matters. And whether you make lots of money, if you make lots of money and you're a shit person, you're still a shit person. So I'm glad I learned that lesson young, because I think if I had have not learned that lesson, I probably they say that money just like exacerbates what's already there. Yeah. And so if I hadn't have learned that lesson young, I don't think I would be someone that I could look in the mirror now and go like, I'm proud of who I am. And I am proud that I can say that now, but I don't think I would have had I not learned that lesson early.
I know from seeing, because you've popped up all over my social media the last few weeks, few months and stuff like that. And probably the biggest thing that I've probably taken away from your time with Alex that you've shared is content. Can you run us through, since meeting Alex, how has your outlook on content changed?
It's interesting because since meeting Alex, I actually had a confirmation it wasn't actually new information. So with my online coaching company, my path to building that to what we did, like we had a multi 7-figure year with 0 ads. And my path to do that was through content and an outrageous amount of it. Like the room that we're sitting in now, I built as a gym for my staff to film content in. Purely because I was under the impression that post-COVID, the online world was going to get more saturated, and the only way we would win is if we could produce faster content. And the barrier that I had, that staff didn't want to go into like mainstream gyms and record. So that was the initial thought process. And then I justified all the other things that we bought and decked it out in the way we did because I just could. But content was the path original. And it was the thing that took us to outrageous amounts of growth. With Livingstone, we posted at our highest peak 20 times a day, and we grew. And I'd kind of forgotten about that. So then when I went and saw Alex, he reminded me that volume will predicate luck. He ultimately just said, like, you have a skill set, you've done the thing, you've proved it, and no one knows who you are. And it was more notably, it was Ed. Now, Ed Turney works with Alex. Ed pretty much just said, like, you need to get violent. You should be scared. His words were, you should be scared. And I said, I am. Why? I'm scared of everything. Why? But why should I specifically be scared? And Ed essentially said to me, like, you have a skill set, you know what you're doing, you've proved it, but no one in the world knows who the fuck you are. And if you don't get violent, you don't get fast, and you don't get well known, there's going to be someone that comes in and just steals everything. Someone comes in faster, more known, more status, more followers, and says, he's putting out some good content, gobble it up, right? So Ed kind of sparked that thought, and then Alex confirmed it. The conversation was very simple in that he said, I should produce as much content as I could humanly possibly do. To which I said, like 500 posts a week? And he kind of just looked at me and was like, if you can. So that became the goal. That became the goal of just ignore every bit of vanity metric. Like a video might get 200 views, to which most people would say, delete it, turn it off, stop trying, like pivot. We are not going to pivot. We're just going to continue to do more for a long time. And so the goal is now pushing to a 700 posts per week, which 77 or something like that. No, 500 posts per week is a 77 odd posts per day, something like that.
What does it take to actually put out that much content?
We haven't got there yet. So we've found the point of volume that is becoming more challenging. I think we can push up to 20 posts a day right now before we start to come into some issues with efficiency. the big thing is it takes people. Like it takes really good people, really good talent, and someone ready to run through walls with you. So like that plan, I'd gone into that plan like knowing, hey, this is going to be the plan. To which I interviewed our now media director. I said to him, like, this is what's going to be expected. This is what we're going to try to do. Like, are you ready to rock? And he said, let's go. So it's just this constant battle of trying to find more and then also find quality. But I think that's the hamstring, is like the thing that is in the way is like finding more and quality. Because like more of shit is just shit. Like, and we found that out. We found out like we could post lots, and if it's not good content, it doesn't do anything. Even if like we look at the total volume of exposure, like let's say we post 20 times a day, each video gets 200-300 views. We will accumulate more views per week than say someone normally posting 2-3 times a week, like easily. But whether the views actually start to convert into any sort of real trust comes down to, is the video worthwhile? Is it good? And so the hard point is just people power. It's just like the amount of time, like, and I also underestimated this, the amount of time just like schedule and like hard post, because we tried scheduling, that tanked, because scheduling for our experience has like reduced exposure dramatically. And even if we're talking like comparing apples and apples, like same video hard posted versus same video scheduled one would get less. So we hard post. So hard posting 20 times a day, challenging.
Have you noticed a shift yet from the content to the business side of things?
As in, has it worked?
Has it worked?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like
better than you imagined?
As expected. I think like having messages of people being like, how are you doing so much volume? How are you posting as much as you are? What did you do? And they don't like the answer. It's like, hire someone, pay them full time, have them sit in the office with you all day, every day, and then start to build a team around them. Like that's the answer. But yeah, we've worked as expected. I think like looking at the impact on the business, like we obviously run ads as well. But the mass amounts of organic content has given us mass amounts of like potential for retargeting. So anyone that consumes any portion of video, we can retarget. I'm a known trusted entity now. And that has, from a numbers perspective, right now we're running at over 100 to 1 on LTV to CAC. So lifetime value to cost of acquisition is over 100 to 1, which is insane. Early days yet, it will likely drop, but I think the content is largely the reason for that.
You help coaches grow their business. How do you actually help them make a shift and see the version of themselves going from, say, $10,000, $20,000 a month to $50,000, $100,000 a month? What's the biggest shift you need to make in them?
I'm not the guy that makes personal shift, to be honest. Like, I'm not the guy that will teach them that there is more possible. How they think about the world is their prerogative. How they see themselves is also their prerogative. I'm there to make the business grow. And so the way that I show them is just by getting them to do the work. And then when they do the work and they get the outcome, the business grows, they start to see that like how they feel about the actions they take matters less.
So is it less changing sort of their mindset behind things and getting them just to follow your proven strategy that's worked?
Yeah, I think the strategy is like, I go framework and principle. So I'll quote one of my early mentors, to methods there are many, to principles there are few. The man that can understand the principle can create his own method. So each business that comes to me gets their own method. There is no one cookie cutter way. This is how we will grow your business. It's like, we have to look at the person, the CEO of the business, or the sole founder, and we need to make sure that they have the time, money, and resources that they can actually deploy the plan well. They have the same moral code, ethical value. Like, we need to make sure that whatever plan that I give them matches their leadership style, matches their goal, matches their plan. So it's a custom plan to how they grow, but I'm not sitting there addressing how they think of the world. Their mindset is not my thought. I don't care about their mindset. As brutal or direct as that sounds, I'm there for when my clients have problems. Like, I'm not inhuman, I'm not unemotional, but I frame most conversations, if I'm talking to a solo founder and there's a problem, I will say there are two entities that we're in this conversation with. It's like you as a person and the company as a business. And if you want me to focus on the company and help you grow the company, we're going to be unemotional to what you're feeling right now. And we're going to solve the problem. And we can talk about how you feel about it later. Whereas if you just need someone to talk to from a personal level, it's like, cool, I'll ignore the company for a second. But it's in every conversation. It's like there are two entities. It's like the person and the company. And if we're trying to focus on the company, the feelings don't matter.
What's the biggest bottleneck you find most of these coaching businesses have?
Well, there's two. I think one is just they don't really want to work that hard. Like, especially in an online world, most people get sold the dream of like online business, it will be easy. You can work from the beach, laptop lifestyle, which you can up until a point. Like you can do that pretty easily with like 50K months, no problem. But if you want to scale to something that's a million above, like you're going to have to work. And I think that's the thing that most people don't really prepare themselves for. And the second is that if you really want to grow, you're going to have to learn to wear different hats. Like you have to learn how to market, you have to learn how to sell, you're going to have to learn how to do copywriting. Like you have to be the person that understands it so that then when you have the money and the finance to afford the manpower, you know whether they're good or not. Like they need to be able to follow a process.
What's the lie the coaching industry is selling that's pissing you off?
I think like the coaching industry as a whole, if I look like top down, it's the mentorship world is dirty and it's the Wild West. Like most people are selling services that they have never built. And it's the thing that frustrates me, the thing that I'm most passionate about is when people give advice on things that they have not lived a day in. Like if you've been in the industry if you've done the thing for a decade, then you're gonna have transferable knowledge. You're gonna know that, okay, cool, I might not have worked in this industry, but I've worked in business for long enough that I can understand transfer. Problem lies in people that have been in industry for less than a year or not in industry at all and have realized that selling the dream of making more money is a very easy thing to sell. And so when you sell that to naive and scared people, they come out on top and then the business owner gets absolutely like just kicked to the wayside. So the lie is that experience doesn't matter. Like, oh, if you're just a good enough marketer, you can no. Like, experience is the governing force of everything. It is the thing with the most amount of gravity and it's the thing you can't cheat. And I think that if more people look towards experience as a measuring stick, like what are the battle scars that you have built or you have earned throughout your time? Are you a young gun success that's just come into money because you sold a good product or a good service that was easy to lie about? What's the experience? Like, what have you done? Show me. And if it's just sold the thing of sold information, it's like, go away. Like, does not matter. I think more people would do a lot better if they just look towards using experience as a measuring stick.
Do you have a moment that sticks out as sort of the hardest conversation you had to ever have with a client?
Yeah, I think it's maybe not the singular conversation, but I think the conversation that comes up as a hard conversation is when the foundation is built on sand. So if you're trying to build a business on a foundation of sand, everything sucks. Everything is hard. And so the hard ones is where you've built, let's say a company's built all of their infrastructure off a staff team that is horrible culture, toxic, not ready to work, mismanaged pay, overpaid, overpriced. The hard conversation is you're in a rock and a hard place. It's like, fire everyone, let's start again, let's do it properly. But that's really scary because then you have to sacrifice all the cash flow or deal with the problem of having a really shitty culture. Unfortunately, like cancer grows and if you don't cut it out, it gets worse. And so that's the hardest conversation is like you're sitting on a foundation of sand, which means everything we build on top of, if the team culture is not there, if you don't have the right people and if you're not building it in the right way, everything we build could fall down in a year, 2 or 3, and it will all feel hard doing it. So both options are hard. It's a very hard conversation to have with the founders, like, hey, every person you have in your team sucks. We need to start again.
In your position, do you ever reflect that you're not just changing someone's business, you're changing the trajectory of their life, their family's life, and even if you're not trying to, you are changing their wiring and thought process? Like, how does that feel? Do you get some sort of ego fulfillment out of it? Not saying ego is a bad thing, but how does it feel that you could be changing someone's lineage for hundreds of years down the line?
Hundreds of years may be a stretch because I think most people forget about everything pretty quickly.
More so maybe the ongoing things of like the finances they've built and the messages that you've taught someone that they're going to pass on to their kids and their kids are going to pass on to their kids.
Yeah, I think about it often. And I will agree. I don't think ego is a bad thing, but I think that mine's actually, I have an opposite effect. I think it's scary. I think they're scary in a good way. It's like one of my most valued things is reputation. Long liner or long story short is my grandfather was one of my best friends and his name is something that I carry. And so if I fuck up, like I'm not holding his name in good stead. And so I care about, like the world will say, don't care what people think. I care. I care what people think. And so I think that's a good thing in that it keeps me on the front foot of trying to make sure that whatever we sell feels like a positive exchange. Even if we charge lots and lots of money, it feels good to pay it because they know that the person that they are backing is going to help them, which I will stand by. And so with that, I think about the changing of their livelihood, not so much their future and how that looks within their lineage, but I do often think about the advice that I give. How does that impact someone's life, not just their business? And I think it adds positive pressure. I think it adds positive pressure in a way that pressure, while scary and hard, maybe even stressful at times, I think it adds a degree of human and a degree of do what you say you'll do, become undeniable, help them.
Do you ever look back at something that you've told someone and be like, I shouldn't have said that? Or are you in the mindset of you said it at the time, so you believed it was true?
If given the opportunity to rectify, yeah, like there's definitely things I've changed my opinion on. Like I even look at the last 12 months, like the experience I've gained in the last 12 months, I would eat the kid that I was 12 months ago for breakfast. Like the advice I gave, whilst good and helped people, I could give better now. So if given the chance to rectify, I would always say, hey, like the advice I gave you before, whilst I believed it true then, it's not now. I would be happy to say I was wrong. But I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm omnipotent in remembering all the things that I've ever given advice on. All I can do is control what I give in future.
What's the biggest thing that would have scared 5 years ago Rhys that you would have told him if you could have a conversation with him?
I think the obvious one is just like total dollar figures. Like lots of money feels like lots of money all the time, but your measuring stick of what lots is changes. So, looking at payroll for me with inside the company now is like, there's a lot, right? I think that's the thing I would have, like, if I could have been prepared for anything else, I would have liked to be more prepared for the concept of finance in a business and being less worried about, the numbers of zeros that come after the first. Like that was a scary notion for me to figure out. And I think it took more time than I would have liked.
Is part of you scared for when you reach these big goals, say the $30 million, is part of you scared that you'll sort of feel empty inside of sort of like what's next? Because you spend so much of your life building towards that goal. Or will that
I
goal,
know that will happen.
The roof will just get higher and higher?
Yeah, the ceiling will change. And it's happened at every level. So at every point that I've hit a milestone, like this first workshop, we pulled in 2 days more than what most people earn in 6 years. And I had a moment, like a fleeting moment of, oh, that's cool, back to work. Whereas the team were far more excited in the moment. But I knew that there's still work to be done and that we can't count the chickens before they hatch kind of thing. And that's just happened at every level. It's just happened at every point where I have reached a thing that I didn't think was possible. And then it goes away and it wasn't as cool as I thought it would be. And I think that's the game. I think it's never as cool as you think it will be.
Do you think people finding their why is important? Not just like I want to do this because I want to have, say, the Ferrari, the Lamborghini, millions of dollars, but like the deep down, like the real why? Or can people just act and create something without knowing why they're doing it?
I don't think why matters. I think like the old notion, or at least like Simon Sinek, great book, Start With Why. It's good in theory, but it also assumes that you're omnipotent and that it's almost a very solipsistic view of the world where you can control everything. Like I know that I do. I do not know that why. Like it's the question of like, do we have free will? Like, I don't know, because I don't know if there's anything further, or, I'm not going to sit here and profess to know that there is something more powerful than me or than you or than the universe that we see. I don't think why, like, short answer, I don't think why matters. I think a lot of people put too much importance on the why. I think so many people get stuck in like, I'm not sure of my direction, my passion, my why. So then therefore they do nothing. Like you can act and you can take action rather in absence of why. And if you wait for why, someone else is going to steal your lunch. Because someone else will move faster. Someone that didn't wait for there to be a why or for there to be a compelling reason to start, they just started, they win.
Now, change the version of why I'm using. What do you say to coaches when they're like, why me? Why is someone going to pay me X amount to do this over someone else?
It's who you are.
That's who you are.
Yeah. Like in the world, it's like there's a blue ocean of shit, right? Especially in like, to be honest, most industries. Most industries that are still growing are competitive industries. Like they are saturated by default because lots of people are realizing that they're growing. So if it's a growing industry, there's always going to be a lot of people that you need to try and compete against, but no one will beat you at being you. And so people buy people before they buy product or service. So in the world, and this is like more true now, but it's always been true, that personal brand matters. And it's just more obvious now because every person has a phone that they can present and put content out. But personal brand, who you are, has always been the thing that people buy.
Do you ever suffer from imposter syndrome?
I think imposter syndrome is rubbish. I was talking about this yesterday. I think imposter syndrome is just an absolute bullshit that people have just been fed to make them feel better. Because like, if I sit there and think, okay, if I feel like an imposter, is it I am just underprepared? Okay, cool, go get prepared. Or is it keep you honest syndrome? Is it you are not good enough at this thing and you are doing things in an arena that you have no business being in because you don't feel like an imposter if you are prepared? Like it comes back to I say this it's written on the wall behind me. It's like the work will always take care of you. If you are feeling like an imposter, it's because you are underworked, you are underprepared. And so therefore go back to the drawing board, get better, and only operate in arenas that you have business operating in. Like don't fight in arenas that you don't have the sword and the steel. Like the sword and the shield, the steel in the walls, that's the thing that makes you not an imposter. That's the thing that makes you strong.
Now, this next one's probably a little bit more selfishly for myself, but what would you say to someone if they believe, well, if I truly go all in, risk everything, I mean everything, whether it be relationships, finances, going broke, homelessness, everything, are you guaranteed success? Because I've been wrestling with this question, and what if I'm chasing it and in the process I lose it all, but I never make it to that mountain?
Two thought processes. One, are you scaling the right mountain? Because there's always mountains. There's always things. You just got to make sure you're scaling Everest. Like, what's the point of scaling a hill? Like a little foothill doesn't matter. And to the notion or to the question, is success guaranteed? If you play long enough, yeah. Like you're either going to win or you're going to die. I'm covered in tattoos, and I think a lot of the tattoos I have are a lot of lessons that I've learned in business. But one of my favorites, it says, "Not dead, can't quit." Like you're either gonna die or you're gonna win. Like none of it's guaranteed, but what you can guarantee is input and effort. And if you take the notion of not dead, can't quit, and you risk it all, it's like, what's the worst that happens? Okay, cool. Let's say absolute worst, rock bottom. Okay, you have nothing to lose. It's a high point of leverage. You lose your relationship, you lose your job, you have no money. Okay, knock on doors, mow lawns. Like you have literally the highest point of leverage because you have nothing to lose. Like leverage can be found at every level. And I think that you just got to solve the right problem the right way. I think there's a lot of people that will spend a lot of time wasting their time and others solving the wrong problem, putting effort into things the wrong way. So if you look at your landscape of opportunity, you just got to make sure that you're solving the right problem, scale the right mountain, and therefore then you will win or you'll die and you won't know.
So that's something I've been telling myself recently. If you die on the adventure, you stay on the adventure.
Yeah, well, if you die on the adventure, like you don't know if you didn't win. So, like, go. Like I think that my biggest fear is, it's strange, like, I guess, thread to pull, but my biggest fear is death. Biggest fear, like mortified of death. The notion of dying, of the unknown, the uncontrollable, of what next, scares the absolute fucking shit out of me. But with that, I also get the violent action of like, well, I may as well make every day worthwhile while I'm here. I may as well work towards the thing that I want to work towards, because if I don't know what's next, and like, admittedly, I'm not religious, and maybe if I were, I would have more comfort in the notion of death. I don't know. But being that I don't have a higher belief, I believe that what we have now is just what we have now, and I would be happy to be proven wrong, but I'm not going to know about it until the time comes. I think that to me gives me this like violent need It's not even a want, it's a violent need to just do as much as I can while I'm here. And so that fear, while scary, propels me forward because it allows me to make sure that I don't leave stones unturned. I push hard, I work, and then I figure out when it's fucked. Like, I may as well make it work.
Changing a saying on its head a little bit, you've mentioned the word violence a lot. Is violence always the answer? Not in the how people are always expecting, but in business, in life, in chasing goals. Is violence the answer?
The thing is with most business owners know what they need to do. They're just too afraid to do more of it. So if you look at, and this is like with life too, like if you're going to try and become a better person, you probably like look at all the options of like, what could I do to become a better person? If you just picked one of them and did them violently, like aggressively, like invested all of your time into, let's say you were like, okay, I want to become a better person. And one of my options is read books. Like, okay, if you just violently read books every day, you'd probably learn more fast. It would compound and you would probably become better. Would it be the fastest way to become a better human? Maybe not. But like, okay, what's another thought or another lever we could pull? Could you go volunteer? Okay, violently dive into volunteer work every day for the next 365 days, volunteer. Like, you probably become a better person. Same with business. Like, we have a lot of levers and there are infinite levers that you can pull, but if you just did one of them violently, did not stop, and did a shit ton more, disproportionate amount of more, you'd probably win.
What mindset is required to survive the middle? The part where nothing is failing, but nothing's exploding.
I think we need two things. We need toward motivators, things we're trying to chase, and we need something to run from too. Like, for me, the fear of going backwards, the fear of it not working was far more exciting than the value of what I could attain. The chasing forward was nice to have, but the thing to run away from was aggressive, scary, and confronting. So I think the middle is the finding the thing to run from. The problem is when you're in the middle, you feel so comfortable that there's like, oh, my life is good now. And it's very easy to forget what it looks like on the other side, what it was. And I think a lot of people are too comfortable in that their worst case scenario is actually not that bad. So I think coming down to, for me, like, I'll speak to my experience from this. How I got out of the middle was to put myself in corners, feeling like I was backed into corners where I intentionally made stressful decisions so that I could figure out ways out. I'm a very big fan of Suits, and like Harvey Specter says, like, you knock the wall down, you find a way. And so I think when you're in the middle, it comes down to taking bigger swings, taking bigger risks so that you have some sort of potential downside. Problem is most people get to the middle and just stay comfortable. They don't take big decisions. They don't make big changes. They sit. So I think it comes just down to like, put yourself in more stressful situations and force action.
That reminds me of a quote I heard. I can't remember who said it. I'm going to butcher it, but it's like, most people would benefit if things in their life are a little bit better or a little bit worse, but we're stuck in that comfort where we think everything's all good. And before we know it, 18 becomes 30, 30 becomes 60, and you've done nothing. You've stayed in comfort. If your marriage was a little bit worse than what it was, like, yes, you might be fighting, but it's not bad enough that you're making a change. It would be better if it was that little bit worse.
Yeah, it'd force you to make something better, or at least try to. Yeah. I think looking at that from the lens of future paced, right? You're trying to look really far ahead. If people are sitting in this like decision tree of like, what should I do? I just come back to like, what's the coolest story? Like, do you want to be able to tell the story to your grandkids that you took the leap or that you didn't? Like, you climbed the mountain, you had the parachute, but you just weren't sure it was going to work. Do you want to be the guy that jumped off and has the cool story to say, hey, it worked? Or do you want to be the guy that say like, I walked down? Like, I do it for the story.
Now, a little game I'd like to play. Put yourself in a scenario, you've been stripped away from everything. All your businesses, your name value, connections, money, everything disappeared, and you were told you've got 12 months to make $1 million. What would you do? And can it be done?
Yeah, of course it can be done. Personally, I'd come back down to what I have, which is time. Like, in any case, it's scale the thing that you have access to. So if you take away money, status, reputation, and everything in between, the only thing that you do have, this is Viktor Frankl, is like, you can control your actions. So if you can control your actions, you can control your time. So you compound time. And the model I would choose would be manual, physical labor, time as a subscription. And then I would try and find a market that has money. So solving rich people problems. So I would, like, my vehicle of choice would be car wash, car detailing, luxury cars as a subscription. I would knock on doors. I would figure out the number of door knocks that would be required to get people to say yes to me. I would walk to those doors with an offer that makes it so easy to them to say yes. Let's say I walk up to the rich houses in Brighton. I say, hey, I'm going to clean your car. The only thing I would do is I'd do enough for free where enough people would pay me to then go and buy some nice clothes. So then I look presentable. And then once I look presentable, I would triple my price and I would knock on the doors and say, hey, I'll clean your car, but I'll also do your driveway for free because I got the pressure washer. I'm here. Like, I'll do your driveway for free. I'll even clean your bins. And then once they're happy with it, I'm saying, cool, I'll be back in 2 weeks or 4 weeks. What do you want? And I get it on a subscription, so I have repeatable income. And at a point where it no longer needs to be me, I have enough cash, I hire my next person, repeat, cycle, go. It's time, labor. I think any business can do this.
Why do most people look at it, say, at 12 months and be like, oh, I've got a month, I can just sort of sit here, play video games because I've got 11 more months after that? Why is majority of the population wired that way?
Access. It's access to information and technology. Like, technology has made us lazy as a whole. And the most scalable thing you have is time, but it's the thing that most people don't want to give. It's like, I want passive income. Like, scale active first. Like, you have time, you have effort. That's the thing that you can't cheat. And in the world that we're moving towards in a digital age, analog effort will reign supreme. And so if it comes back down to like, okay, I've got 12 months. Do I go invest in a tech platform? Like, fuck man, if you've got no money, how are you doing that? Right? So yeah, are there faster vehicles that if you have some startup cash that you can make $1 million quicker? Sure. Easier? Maybe not. Because it's actually far easier to just go knock on doors than it is to figure out how to code tech. It just comes down to a numbers game. Like, per 100 doors you knock, how many people say yes? Okay, cool. Let's write down all the words you use. And then if you can take that, like say per 100, 10 people say yes. And when you say these words, you change 1 or 2 lines in the wording. Okay, now 12 people say yes. Like, it's only 10 to 12%. Doesn't feel like a big jump. But like, if let's say a bigger example, let's say we have an 8% per 100 doors we knock, we've got an 8% conversion. 8 people say yes. But then we change a couple lines in the script, we get it to 13%. It's only a numerical shift in 5%, but it's a 66% increase in conversion. That compounds. Like, small changes make big differences in service. And then if you can get it on a subscription, you win.
I asked that question because I heard a very interesting quote actually last night, because I'm a big believer in people only change when things are like at the rock bottom. They need that negative before they actually change. I wish it wasn't the way, but that's, I believe, the way it is. And what I heard was, if tomorrow a global decree said any man with less than $1 million will be executed in 12 months, not a single one of you would stay poor. You would move with a violence you've never shown before in life. You will bleed for life that you suddenly claim you want. That proves something dark. You don't have a knowledge problem, you have a comfort addiction, and most men only change when death becomes a calendar event on your schedule. You don't lack opportunity, you lack consequences, and until you create stakes that are so big that they scare you, you'll stay exactly where you are, a man rehearsing survival instead of living it.
Agree. So I think it is the way the world is, but I don't think it's hard-coded into us. I think most people do sit in a point of comfort where they wait for circumstances to change around them for them to change. It's kind of like, it's a weird notion where they think action happens and then they get ROI. So circumstances or life changes and then life gets better. But in reality, if we use like a weight loss example, like, you don't lose the weight until you make the commitment to eat less and do more, right? So you have to take action and then get outcome. I think if people just got better at just identifying that action creates outcome rather than outcome drive action, because like, if that scenario plays out, everyone's getting killed that's not, a millionaire. It's like, okay, that's circumstance change. That's essentially input then action.
Yeah.
It's like, no, like action then input. It's like, it has to come action then outcome. And that is true how the most of the world lives, but it's also not fact. As in, like, it doesn't have to be that way. Anyone could just take action now and it just works. So I think if more people just realize that they don't have to wait for shit to be hard and did it anyway, they'd be in a far better place.
If we change the question from you had to start a fresh thing versus you know exactly what you know right now, but you're dropped into a business, what systems would you implement into 99% of businesses to make them succeed?
Which comes down to the most valuable metrics, man. So like, the most important thing in any business is EBITDA. So like, when we're talking like enterprise value, it's like, long story short, it's your roughly gross profit just before interest and taxes. So EBITDA is it's a double-edged sword. It's like, how much do you make and how much do you spend? So I would first look for efficiencies. Like, can we get headcount to be more efficient? Can we get more people, the same amount of people to make the company more money? Or can we drive costs down? So like payment terms are a really interesting one. Like if you look at like a construction company, for example, they buy all their wood in bulk. What if we just doubled the order of the bulk order? Can that get material costs down by 2%? And in a construction company, 2%, big difference. And if you can get that down, and then you can maybe look at like pre-cutting for install. So like we want, instead of long pieces of wood, we want them pre-cut to these lengths because they're easier to install. That increases the efficiency of that build by 5%. Like you could be saving millions. So that'd be lever one, is like efficiency per headcount. I'd be trying to find, making sure that every person in that business is making the company as much as money as possible while spending as least as possible. Like if we look at that as the single North Star, just improve EBITDA, then you've got things that come off that, like getting cost of advertising to get lower, getting like clients to be worth more, or like customers to be worth more, stay longer. Like there's a whole slew of things we would do from there, but it just comes down to principle. Like a good business makes more money and keeps more of it.
Do you feel in this space of coaching, fitness, everything, social media, it's all becoming too oversaturated?
No, not at all. I think like,
or is it just a perception? Because I find right now I'm seeing more people than ever doing podcasts. I'm seeing more people than ever running fitness programs, running more people than ever being relationship coaches. Is it a fact that it's now just more accessible, or that there's just, as you say, a lot of bullshit people out there not actually doing it, just promoting, but people will see through their falls and cracks pretty quickly?
see who's here in 10 years. Like every industry feels more saturated now just to the digital access.
Yeah.
But proportionally, at least my belief, like I look at the fitness industry 10 years ago when I was on the gym floor, it felt saturated then. It still feels saturated. It just feels, I think it feels the same amount of saturated because it's just different though. And so most of the time, for example, take you as an example, like we've got our reticular activating system in our brain. It's like when you like think about buying a new car, it's the only car you see on the road. Like once you become aware of it, people call this manifestation, but it's just like you just became aware and now it's there, right? You have an echo chamber of podcasts. Like you're trying to build a podcast. You don't think the algorithm knows that? You don't think that like you're also looking toward podcasting things to understand the podcasting game more, so it feels like every person has a podcast?
Yeah.
It's like you're just more aware and it's in front of you because it's what you consume, but it's an echo chamber. Crazy, right? Like if we look at, like, I'm sure you've used or do use ChatGPT, right? Cool. I can't remember who it was, but they did a walk down New York, just walking down New York, busy street, right? Times Square. Hey, do you use ChatGPT? What the fuck's that? There were people still saying in New York, being like, what's that? And the percentage was insane. Like we see ChatGPT as something that's normal, accepted, and used in everyday life, but we're in an echo chamber. And so it feels like chat is like a saturated utility, but it's like there is still a pretty decent percentage of the like modern world that have no idea what it is or how to use it. So like saturation is this game of like proximity. You feel saturated in most industries because it's all you consume and all you see. But for most people, they don't see it they don't see the world you see it. They have different filters. So I think like whilst industries do get more saturated and grow, I don't see it to be a bad thing because most people start something and leave something very quickly. So in 5 years, like, yeah, will there be more people with podcasts? Yes. But will there be probably as a percentage, less people with successful podcasts? So it means like, yeah, the bottom end is more competitive, but the top's just like, it's never been easier to succeed because more people quit faster, more often than ever before.
So going back to like the training gym space, do you think it's still super easy for people to come in and go from working a corporate job to start making $10,000 a month, example?
Define easy. Theoretically, the math is very easy. Like if we're talking 2K weeks, right? We're talking, okay, well, if you're charging $100 a session, which is very doable, doing 20 sessions a week, which in most cases maybe 12 to 15 different individuals paying you. Very easy in theory, sounds easy, but like hard is subjective. Okay, so easy and hard is this measuring stick that whilst it's easy to say building a 10K a month business is easy, it's also the hardest business that you ever have. Like it was the hardest for me to build to a 10K a month than any other milestone ever. because you don't know what to do. You're underskilled, underprepared, underworked, and you're underleveraged. So everything feels hard. So theoretically, yeah, super easy to go in and make 10 grand a month. But in theory, that doesn't play out the way that it is in practicality. Like practicality means like you have to dial, you have to sell, you have to market, you have to give your time for free. You have to wake up and go to the gym at 4:30 in the morning, train someone, or at least think you're going to train someone, and then not show and do it again and not get paid. And it's like, it's challenging. And I think that's the part that most people, like the guru mindset of like, oh, build to 10K a month. The guru mindset typically will come from the people that haven't done it. It's like, if you haven't lived in that trench, it's like, you can't appreciate how hard that actually is. Like in theory, it's easy. I also believe that people that are making 10 grand a month, less than 10 grand a month in the fitness industry shouldn't pay for help. Like the help that you can afford at that revenue bracket is help that is inexperienced and unable. They're just, if they're affordable to you at 10 grand a month, they're not that good. And you'd be better off just like getting in the trenches and doing the shit you need to do anyway, making calls, doing the posts, pushing, like doing the stuff that will help you grow. And then you can eventually afford real help that has experience because you've earned the right to.
Probably two questions leading on from that. Those people you say shouldn't be paying for help, what is one thing that you could tell them right now that they should stop doing, that they believe is the right thing? And the second thing on that is, when should you start paying for help?
I think at the sub 10K months, especially like if I'm talking fitness specifically, and I would say like broad spectrum, but like in most businesses, if you're under 10K a month, a lot of it comes down to just like steel on the wall, skin in the game. Yep. Like actually go make some calls, actually go, knock on some doors. If we're talking fitness, like call the lead list, write down the words you say. And instead of then giving up saying the leads suck, no one wants to talk to me, no one picks up the phone. It's like, well, what did you say? Because like the most powerful words you can take in building any business is my fault. Like it's on you, not on the client. Like you're in a gym, for God's sake. Like they are problem aware. They want to lose weight. They've signed up for a membership because they want to make a change. Like they are the most qualified leads you ever get access to, just because they may be a little bit older, maybe not the type of person that you want, but like, do you have the luxury to be picky when you're building? No. Like you coach everyone or train everyone who will allow you to. And then eventually you get good enough to start segmenting into markets that you feel more, entertained by. I think the thing that most people just like, if I could tell them one thing, like, don't pay for help that's inexperienced. Do the things that that will have the highest likelihood of success with the least and the smallest bridge to that success. And when I say success, it's money in bank. It's like scoreboard. Okay, like what gets you paid? And we just do more of the thing that has the shortest bridge to get you paid. So the shortest bridge in my mind is like, go give your time for free. Get in front of people and then ask them to pay you after you've shown value. Like that is the shortest bridge. It's not the funnest, it's not the most fun bridge. It sucks. It's like, fuck, my God, I'm giving so much of my time for free. But if you, to give the point of like, okay, if you had to make $1 million in the next year, what would you do? Like everyone's going to get, everyone's getting killed. If you don't make $1 million, like what would you do? It's like, okay, people will sit there and go, okay, I'll get on calls. I'll train people free. I'll do it all. Like imagine if all you did, like for a podcast, if all you did for the next year was talk to one person every day, because like you don't think that if you went down the city, you'd find one person that's interesting to talk to? And you asked every person, like I'm just even thinking from a content perspective. You have someone follow you, you walk down to the main street and you go, oh, we're just going to find our next podcast guest. And you say to every person, like, hey, I run a podcast. I just want every person in the world has a story. I just want to interview you. How many people until someone says yes? How many people until that one person says yes, has an amazing story? And then that goes viral and then podcast blows up. Like if you didn't have guests, could you do that every day? Yeah. Like that has the shortest bridge to success. Get more people on seats. Do it often. Do it lots until someone then has something cool to say. Same with coaching. Like instead of go paying someone to help, just like go get people in front of you.
At what point should they start paying, and how do they find the right person to pay?
At what point they should start paying, I think it depends on the journey they're trying to take. Like,
is it required?
If you want to go fast, yeah. Like you can learn anything on your own, but if you just want to compound time, and that is the cheat code, compound time, play a game of leapfrog. Like I've jumped over a lot of problems in my last 15 years. If I can help my clients not jump over those problems and I can just go, hey, let's do this instead, that's the game of leapfrog. And that's where they can compound on their time and get more for it. Like that's leverage. So if you want to go fast, yeah, getting help is necessary. What to look for is like, have they done what you're trying to do? Do they live a life that you actually are excited to live? Are they in an industry that has crossover, or have they been around for long enough that they can show it? Do they help people like you in similar time frames without like extra resources, like people like you that have the same access to money, resources, time, effort, and so on? Like if they've done it before, done it for themselves, and have a life that you want, like probably worth talking to. Right? Probably even if it's like most of the time they're in those cases, if they've done it, have helped people, and have a life you want, most of the people in that realm aren't going to be as affordable as you'd like them to be. So it means like either taking big risks to pay what they're worth and learn their skill, or find a means to get proximity to them, help them, like find something to do for them and help. And then you get proximity by default. Like that's the path I would take. Find someone that's worth paying, pay them their worth, or find a way to get proximity to them. Both work.
What's the last deep thought you've had that you haven't shared with anybody?
I think that I don't spend much time sitting in pride. I think what I like the last 15 years, and I've spoken this out loud a lot, is like shit's hard. Building something big is hard. But the thing that like I've started to sit with a little bit more, especially recently, is how hard it has been, and how proud of myself I am that I actually stuck with it. And I don't think like I'm not someone that I avoid self-aggrandization a lot. Like I aggressively avoid it. I don't want to, take credit for much. Like I take blame, give credit. But I think recently I've been very much sitting in this time of grateful. I think I'm far more grateful than I ever have been. Because I think like had I not done what I have done, I wouldn't be who I am. And I'm pretty proud of who I am.
So if we strip you away from all the businesses, all the success, how would people describe you? And are you happy with how they describe you?
Yeah, I think I am. I think like the thing that I think I'm most proud of, that the businesses that I work with, the clients that I take on, there is not one of them that would ever be able to say that Rhys doesn't work harder than all of them. Like I have people get on calls with me and say like, oh, I feel really stressed and I feel like I'm really busy. And they'll follow that up with, I feel stupid saying that to you. Like I work a lot, but I don't think that, not just to die on the hill of like, I work a lot. I work well. I work hard. And I think the thing that most people would say about me, despite anything else or any sort of, material success, would be, no one is surprised in the outcome. Like there is not any person that knows who I am and knows what I've done would be surprised in what we've achieved. And I think that's the thing, that's the hill that I am very happy to stand on, in that I've had clients say to me, it's very comforting knowing that I'm working with someone and paying someone that is not sitting on a beach relaxing, that is still getting after it harder than ever before. And I think that's the thing that, to me, like, remove all the success, remove anything that I've done, no one would be able to tell you that I'm not the hardest worker that they know.
See, people always hear on the internet, obviously, work harder, I work the hardest. Can you please tell us, what's a day for you look like?
I'll give you an example. Not too long ago, and I'll almost quote word for word what I said as to why. Not too long ago, we set out to film 1,000 videos in a day. And I posted on that day and said, the reason I'm doing this is, one, just so that we can have the tactile advantage of not having to produce more content for a while. But also, I said I was going to document the process, and I did. I, kept everyone updated as we went. And one of the reasons I wanted to keep everyone updated is that even there, like, I'm not naive enough to think that there are no one in the world that doesn't like me or doesn't relate with who I am. But any of those that do not like me, that followed on for that day, would not be able to say he doesn't work hard. And so what that day looked like was, we got in at 8 a.m. We started filming straight away, and we did not leave until 6 a.m. the next day. And how that worked was essentially myself and Switch in the room, scripts in place, say the words, do it again, do it again, do it again, and so on. And so whilst that is an abnormal day, I think it's a good reflection of, like, I'll leave when the work's done rather than when I feel like I am done. And so we didn't leave. We didn't leave until it was done, and Switch stayed the whole day. And I think that depicts of, like, for me, like, we we deploy something called open to goal. And so every day we walk in with a goal, and I just don't leave until it's done. So a normal day for me might look like 4 or 5 hours sinking into writing. That will just be thought, pen to paper, fingers to buttons kind of thing. That'll be 4 or 5 hours of just like trying to essentially what I call maker time, where I will make things and I will build. So that's building for future or next project. After that, I will be 7 to 8 hours back to back on private client calls, of which that gets to maybe 7 or 8 o'clock at night. Then now I will train. I haven't own a gym, but haven't trained for 6 months because we've been focused on other things. So now I will train, and that'll be an hour and a half endeavor. And then I'll jump back up and reply to all private clients. So we're talking then around 10:30 at night. And that's a normal day at this point. So I will get in at 7 or 8, write until 12, be on calls for 7 hours, train, reply, go home, watch half an episode of Suits, go to bed. And that's my day, every day. And to the point of like last week's workshop, the workshop on Saturday finished at 6. Went for dinner with the team, small celebratory dinner. I was back in here and left at 3 a.m.
What's one lesson you wish every entrepreneur knew before they chase success?
Succeeding will take longer. It will be harder than you ever thought possible, but it will be worth it. I think like people will go on this journey of like, I want to succeed. And success, again, it's a subjective metric of like, your success is not mine. Mine is not yours, and it won't be the next person's. And my success, or what I define to be successful, will change over time. But the thing that is guaranteed is it will take more time than you think. It will be harder than you think, and it will still be worth it. Even if you don't get the outcome that you want, it will still be worth it. Like, you will become a better person. You will learn more about you, about the world, about everything around you. Even if you don't get the insert outcome you were chasing, it will be worth it.
Is there any part of what you're building next on the way to the 30 million that scares you? Or do you think in order to get to that level, you sort of need to give up a part of yourself?
No, it did scare me. 6 months ago, the notion of building to a $30 million a year scared me. But frankly, now I think we're undershooting. Like, the 30 mil no longer feels scary. I think this just comes down to like, it's a point of preparation. And it's also like, I kind of alluded to this before, but I think when it comes to like your tolerance to pressure, you always think that you're close to like, this will break me. And the grass is just always greener. Like, you get to that point of break and you're like, okay, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It wasn't that hard. And so the example I give here is I used to be a swimmer, like back in the day. And I did not train hard. I was not a good athlete, but I performed well on race day, and I was fast. And call it natural talent, call it structural benefit with the way my legs move, I don't know. But I won a lot. I didn't train much. I didn't train hard, and it frustrated a lot of people. My coaches, parents of other kids, like, it was like a constant topic of like, why are you even here? You don't train hard. And then I'd rock up on race day and do well. And then I was posed the question of like, imagine if you worked hard. To which, even young, I sat there and said, no, I don't want to. And like, I was just at the time a stubborn kid. I said, no, I don't want to. But like, I still remember the internal dialogue of, if I try hard and then don't win, who am I? Like, I'm the guy that doesn't need to try that hard and I still win. But if I try really, really hard and then fail, like, I'm nothing. And so I think that actually comes into play in every person's journey in business. Is most people still leave something in the tank, myself included. Like, you think it's really, really hard, and when you're going through it, you're like, fuck, this is really stressful. I am beaten down. I'm at the point of break. Like, it's challenging. I don't know if I can get up. And then it works. And then you get to the other side of it and you're like, I probably had a bit more. There was probably a bit more there. And I think that whether it was there or not, I think you get it after. Like, you put the input in and then you get that fire that I could have probably pushed a bit harder. I probably could have gone that a bit faster, a bit like, I could have just done a bit more. Right. And like, quoting Desmond Doss from Hacksaw Ridge, like, Lord, just give me one more. Like, I think we realized that point. We were at that point of break. It's like, you can just do one more. You can do a little bit. You can just try that bit more. And I think when you're on the other side, you realize there's always that. There's just that little bit in the tank. And so everyone says they want to, they want to empty the tank. But I feel for me, like, I felt like I was emptying the tank in the last 6 months. And then I look at how well we did with our first workshop and how well the team are doing now and how well the whole company is doing. And I sit there and go, I probably didn't empty the tank. Like, I feel like I probably could have given it a bit more, even though it went really well. So I look at the outcome of the 30 million and, like, I don't think you need to lose a bit of yourself. I don't think, I'm not scared for it. I think we will probably work really, really hard in the process, but every level, myself and then all those around me will realize that there's more. There's something else we could have done.
Even at your level, is there a lot of competition?
Maybe not in volume of people, but in size, yeah. Like, competition is this thing that, like, is going to follow you everywhere. And I think knowing the enemy, knowing who you're trying to chase down is helpful.
Who are you chasing down?
Man, I think as much as it sounds strange, I think, like, the only way to look at this for me is to chase the best in the world, which is Alex. Like, he is someone I look up to, someone that I've got help from, but he's also the person that why bother competing if I don't want to beat him? Yeah. Like, is it likely? No. Is it possible? Maybe. Is it hard? Yeah. But, like, why get in an arena if you don't want to come out on top? Like, why play?
I can definitely understand that on a personal level. It's like, getting into this, I've got probably 3 people that I've looked up to, and I've said it to people and they've sort of said, oh, that's a bit crazy. It's never going to happen. But it's like, I believe I can be as good as who I want to attain. The biggest things I've got to get to is, like, currently, I can't articulate myself as good as they can. I can't ask as good as questions as they can. I can't perform better on camera as well as they can.
But neither could they 10 years ago.
I know. And it's like, I had a good conversation with a good mate of mine yesterday. I'm like, I can't do any of this than these people. What can I do? Like, what metric can I do that they can't do? And it's like, I can be relentless and undeniable, if you want to say, in posting content. Like, they are only putting out 1-2 podcasts a week, maybe a fortnight. It's like, okay, let me try and do 3 a week. Let me try and do 20 shorts of that. Let me put myself out there so much that gap from where they are to where I am and then where I want to be, which is where they are, slowly shrinks over time. And then if I can put that content out, I'm only going to get better over time. I'm only going to improve.
I think, like, for you, if you're looking at, like, towards the podcast world, if I can kind of, like, just put the coach hat on for a sec, where you have the abilities to stand out is inefficiency. Like, inefficiency is your luxury. You can do things manual, you can do things hard, you can build relationships, you can get to know your guests on a different level, and you can afford the inefficiency. Because, like, for someone that's, like, let's say, the best in the game, they can't afford any inefficiency, which means when we have no inefficiency, we lose human touch, we lose, like, we don't get the minor details. And so, yeah, you can definitely compete on volume, but also, if they wanted to tomorrow, they could compete 10 times harder on volume. Like, they could produce 100 videos a day, right? So whilst volume is going to be the thing, yes, you can leverage with effort, but I think the thing that's more leverageable is the minor details, the small little things that they can't do. Like, for example, walking down a main street and trying to interview random people. Like, podcast is booked, let's go. Like, tell the story of people. Like, that's what they will never do. Everyday people telling stories.
No, I like that. I mean, to sort of finish everything up, I mean, if you could look into the camera, this here is a time capsule that you can listen back in 10 years' time. What do you say to that version of yourself?
All of what you have set out to do went better than you expected. And you did it in a way that was the right way, that didn't compromise on character, that didn't compromise on who you are. And you should be proud of that.
Well, guys, this was the Great Human Reconnect. I'm your host, Hayden Binney, and until next time.
Thank you.